Coming up on BCN today. Two men walk free following a judge's decision to drop the charges in a murder trial. Plus, it's World Mental Health Day, and the focus this year, suicide prevention. And we hear from First Nations activist Martin Heavyhead, who weighs in on why he feels some Indigenous groups are in favor while others are against getting pipelines built.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Thursday. Two men in a murder case are walking free. One day after his co-accused had his charge of manslaughter dismissed, 21-year-old Simon Danny Scout's manslaughter charge was also dropped by the Crown. The two men were originally charged with second-degree murder in the death of 45-year-old Kenrick Firstrider. The charges were reduced to manslaughter on the first day of what would have been a 6-week trial. Then on Tuesday, the judge dismissed the case against 25-year-old Ryland Twigg because she said his recorded confession was not given voluntarily and was therefore inadmissible. With the dismissal of the confession and statement, the Crown on Wednesday stayed the charge against Scout as well. It's not clear at this time if the Crown will appeal. The World Health Organization says that every 40 seconds, someone loses their life to suicide, making it the leading cause of death among people aged 15 to 29. Today is World Mental Health Day. First introduced in 1992, it's observed every year on October 10th. This year, the theme is suicide prevention. The day is supported by the WHO. A former Sterling Elementary School secretary who was charged with stealing school cash will receive a conditional sentence. Kathleen Broadhead, who had been in charge of the school's Visa card and cash, stole close to $90,000. Her conditional sentence of 2 years less a day includes 6 months house arrest and 18 months under a 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew. She pled guilty to 1 count of theft over $5,000. Alberta Health Services says that in the last week there has been 11 confirmed cases of whooping cough in Lethbridge, the county of Lethbridge, and Raymond. An outbreak has not been declared, but Ainsley O'Reilly explains why the illness can become deadly.
With seasons changing, illnesses tend to spread through schools and workplaces. But how do you know if it's whooping cough versus all of the other respiratory viruses?
Kids, you can get those really coughing spells, these big attacks. We call it paroxysmal phase, where people cough, and at the end of the cough, there may be an inspiratory whoop in children. Some really little kids may also throw up because they're just coughing so hard.
The most confirmed cases in the South Zone are 475 in 2017. That's confirmed cases. Dr. Vivian Suttorp says that the numbers will be higher, especially if residents don't seek medical attention.
Because there's a spectrum of illness, meaning some individuals, especially young ones, can be very severely ill and have severe complications, all the way to adults with minor symptoms.
Out of all of the outbreaks in the South Health Zone, in at least 80% of those cases, the individuals were not immunized. AHS also recommends staying home and limiting contact with others.
The less spread we have, the less of the bacteria we have in our overall community. And therefore, the more we all, as citizens of Southern Alberta, protect those very vulnerable young infants and newborns.
For Bridge City News, I'm Ainsley O'Reilly.
Thank you, Ainsley. Streets Alive mission dedicated a whole day to be about you. The local charity is called A Day of 1,000 Thanks. The faith-based charity says that your faithful hands have helped battle poverty in our city. They want to thank corporate partners and community members for their time and money.
It's essential. We spend a lot of our time sharing the stories of what happens when somebody gives us a gift and how that impacts an individual in this community. It's not about people giving to Streets Alive. It's about people giving so that other people in this community, their neighbors, their friends, can be supported and have the support that they need through agencies like Streets Alive. Lethbridge is so very generous, and none of this work could be done without the people who give.
Streets Alive has been in operation in Lethbridge for 30 years. The Lethbridge Fire Department announced their fire chief for a day. The winner is General Stewart School's grade 1 student, Madison Wright. Madison colored a safety message and entry form in order to win this prestigious title.
We take this as an opportunity to get the public involved, the schools involved. We do school fire drills, and then when we do the school or the fire chief of the day, it's fantastic. The kids get excited. The student kind of comes out of their shell. They get excited. They have fun. I mean, let's face it, we were all kids once. I remember always wanting to ride on a fire truck and always wanting to put that helmet on. And luckily here we get to let someone do it.
My husband and I, we've never ridden in a fire truck either, and so we were saying that it's very special that she gets to already at the age of 6 to be able to ride in a fire truck. So that's what we're probably looking forward to the most.
What is going to be the most exciting thing, do you think, about being the fire chief?
Riding in a fire truck.
Will that be pretty cool?
Madison received her Fire Chief for a Day certificate, prize package, and a firefighter uniform. Her grade 1 class will also receive a free pizza party from Panago Pizza in Lethbridge. There's a group that uses animals to help people with their therapy. The Blue Rain Ranch Animal Assisted Therapy provides low-income trauma and abuse victims access to counseling and animal-assisted therapy. They have a big fundraiser coming up in Fort Macleod on October 19th.
The event is being put on by our nonprofit foundation, which operates at arm's length from the ranch. And the whole purpose of the event is to raise funds for low-income families so that they can access counseling support as they deal with, trauma, addictions, or other mental health challenges in their lives. We integrate the animals, the horses and the dogs in particular, into the counseling process for conditions like anxiety, depression, PTSD, addictions, basically any mental health challenge. ADHD is another one that we work with children a lot. And the reason why we integrate animals into the process is because it's a little less directive than a traditional counseling approach, a little less intimidating. People resonate with, they connect well with animals, they're able to express themselves better with animals, and it just helps them to process their emotions in a non-directive way.
For more information about the fundraising dinner and auction, call 403-894-9160. First Nations activist Martin Heavyhead with the Blood Tribe stopped by our studio recently. He and BCN's Hal Roberts chatted about the opioid crisis in our city, reconciliation, and the economy. Heavyhead says that when it comes to pipelines, we can expect to see more protests.
They are making this argument that it is going to be great for money, it's going to be great for business and whatnot, though that's only along the line of the pipeline. The people that they have encountered going from Alberta to BC are in support. However, this is not, Indigenous people are not a monolithic group. So there is a lot of anti-pipeline activism going on to this day, and when they try to build it, there will be protests.
Catch Hal's full interview with activist Martin Heavyhead as they also discuss who he feels should become the next Prime Minister of Canada. That's coming up in the second half of our show. Most of the federal party leaders are hunkered down and preparing for tonight's French language debate, except for NDP leader Jagmeet Singh and Liberal leader Justin Trudeau. Singh recapped his party's platform, outlining programs to help students battle climate change and lower cell phone bills. Trudeau is visiting an Ottawa area pumpkin patch with a local candidate. Meanwhile, Trudeau says Canadians are not worried about national unity. He sidestepped a question about whether the minority Liberal government would work with the Bloc Québécois.
I think Canadians know that I have always stood for Canadian unity and always will. But quite frankly, even as I crisscross Quebec and the rest of the country, Canadians are not talking to me about national unity. Canadians are not worried about national unity, nor should they be. They are focused on having a government that has a real plan to fight climate change, that has a real plan to push back against Doug Ford and Jason Kenney and the big oil companies who wrote Andrew Scheer's environment plan.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh said that he wants to win over the hearts and minds of Quebecers who oppose the province's secularism bill. Bill 21 bans many public servants from wearing religious symbols or garments at work.
I don't believe in interfering with the court decisions right now. There's a court decision, there's a court challenge going on, and that court challenge should not be interfered with. And that's why I'm being really clear about that. And what I want to do is use my platform to win over people and show them that this is not a good thing to do, that discriminating people based on the way they look is not a good idea.
Andrew Scheer says a Conservative government would close a loophole as part of its plan to overhaul Canada's immigration policy. The agreement prevents asylum seekers from claiming refugee protection in Canada if they arrive at a border checkpoint from a country that is considered safe, like the U.S.
The rules have to be followed and the laws have to be enforced. As Prime Minister, that's exactly what I will do. As I said, we will close the loophole in the Safe Third Country Agreement. We will also hire 250 additional officers at the Canada Border Services Agency. This represents a 25% increase in our inland enforcement operation, which will strengthen law enforcement at the border. We will deploy more judges of the Immigration and Refugee Board to the hotspots of illegal border crossers so claims can be processed faster.
Britain's parliament was suspended Tuesday night so that a new session can begin next week. It will feature a major policy speech from Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Conservative government.
By virtue of Her Majesty's commission, which has been now read, we do, in Her Majesty's name and in obedience to Her Majesty's command, prorogue this Parliament to Monday, the 14th day of October, to be then here holden, and this Parliament is accordingly prorogued to Monday, the 14th day of October.
Smoke could be seen rising near the Turkish-Syrian border as Turkey announced a military operation into Syria has begun. Kurdish reports say Turkish troops bombed a convoy of vehicles taking residents of Raqqa to a border town, inflicting casualties. While mortars fired from Syria landed in a Turkish town along the border, wounding at least 2 people there. Turkish President Erdogan said on Twitter that the operation is called Peace Spring. He said the operation was aimed to eradicate the threat of terror against Turkey. This following President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw troops from Syria and hand over the control to Turkey. Well, we've had some cooler temperatures this week and some light flurries in some areas, but warmer temperatures are just around the corner in time for the long weekend. Complete weather details are coming up right after the break, so stick around. Welcome back. Here's a look at your weather highlights for Lethbridge today and tomorrow. Lots of sunshine in the forecast. We have a high of +3 today and a low of -9. Looking at tomorrow, a high of +7. Also lots of sunshine in the forecast and a low of -4. Looking ahead to the 5-day forecast, Saturday is going to be seeing lots of sunshine as well. And we're going to be getting finally into those double digits with +13, low of -1. Sunday, though, we have a little bit of cloud coverage coming in, but still +9 degrees, not so bad. Monday, Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, look what we got there. Looks like a little bit of flurry action happening. Chance of flurries, a high of 7 degrees. On the almanac, the average for this time of year should be about 16 degrees. The low is +1. The highest temperature on this day was back in 1942, 29 degrees. The lowest temperature was in 1960. It was -8. The sun rose this morning at 7:44 a.m. and will be setting this evening at 6:52 p.m. So you might notice that on your drive home, the days are getting shorter there. Looking ahead to the national forecast, West Coast, Victoria and Vancouver, both tons of sunshine over there, highs of 12 degrees in both of those cities. Edmonton, also lots of sunshine, high of 8 and a high of 5 degrees today in Calgary with lots of sunshine there as well. Nice to see that sun shining. Also in Saskatoon, sunshine with a high of 5. Regina is +3 with a mix of sun and cloud. Look what's happening at Winnipeg, though. They have a chance of flurries over there, too, with a high of +1. So, flurries all over the place, except in the east. Look at this. Highs of 16 degrees in Toronto, lots of sunshine, 17 degrees in Ottawa. We've got a mix of sun and cloud also in Montreal with a high of 16. Lots of double digits going on over there on the east coast. Fredericton, high of 15, mix of sun and cloud. Same thing for Halifax, sun and cloud there, high of 15. Charlottetown, lots of sunshine, 15-degree high there. And in St. John's, Newfoundland, they have a high of 12 degrees with lots of sunshine there as well. That's your weather forecast. Here's a look at what's happening in your community.
Here's your Bridge City News Community Calendar. Southern Alberta Crime Stoppers is holding their first ever 5K Color Fun Run on Saturday, October 19th from 9 to 11 a.m. at Legacy Regional Park in Lethbridge. All proceeds to go to Southern Alberta Crime Stoppers. For more information about the run and volunteer opportunities, email lcsa1983@gmail.com or visit Southern Alberta Crime Stoppers Facebook page. Come for an amazing time to the McNally Community Association's Tex-Mex Fiesta fundraiser on Saturday, October 19th at the McNally Community Center. The evening begins with dinner at 7 p.m. with entertainment at 8 and a barn dance at 8:30. Music provided by the Great Canadian Barn Dance Band. Plus, a silent auction and raffle draw will be taking place at the event. Tickets are $50 per person and can be purchased at Western Stockman. For more information, visit mcnallycommunity.ca. Do you enjoy helping others in our community? Volunteers are needed in Lethbridge and Medicine Hat to support adults participating in local AHS recreation and leisure programs. AHS is looking for those who will provide guidance and encouragement to people taking part in aquatics, walking to wellness, and expressive arts. To learn more about this opportunity, call 403-388-6311 or apply online at albertahealthservices.ca. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.
There actually is such a thing as a free lunch, and today's daily life hack will help make that a reality for some of you. Before dropping your business card in a bowl used for those free lunch draws, make a distinct bend in it. You have a much larger chance of being picked over all the other ones that lay flat. But don't forget to be extra generous and tip your server. And that's today's daily life hack. I guess that could happen for any draw, really, that you put your card into. So I'll have to keep that in mind. Moving to a seniors or personal care home is not that simple. Adding to the anxiety is the separation from loving pets that have been part of our lives for many years. As Naveen Day reports, St. John's Ambulance provides a dose of puppy love to those who need it the most.
For many of us, stress relief comes in the form of 4 paws, lots of fur, and puddles of drool. The Therapy Dog Program, a service of St. John Ambulance, improves the lives of those who need comfort and companionship. Community Service Coordinator for the program, Nicole Bosch, says the dog visits offer many benefits that improve the quality of lives.
We visit a lot of senior homes, and a lot of seniors may have always had a pet, and they miss that companionship and interaction, and really enjoy having a chance to visit with our volunteer owners and the dogs. And you can see a lot of people's faces brighten up as soon as they see the dogs.
In addition to seniors' homes just like this, the dogs are a hit at university and college campuses. One popular guest is Catherine Champagne's pug named Doug.
He thinks it's just like another day. He gets really excited to go, and we go see all the people. He gets pet for a whole hour, and then he sleeps after. But for us, it's really important for people to get the chance to see him and pet him. And lots of kids miss their dogs at home, and they just, they really enjoy it, and their reactions are pretty awesome too.
The program has over 70 therapy dog volunteers that conduct over 600 visitations per year in Alberta. For Bridge City News, I'm Naveen Day.
What a cute little guy. Well, there's never been a time in history when access to information has been so readily available. But with the age of online resources also comes an increase in temptation for students to cheat. It's called contract cheating or outsourcing to online providers, where a student can basically hire someone to write a paper or do an assignment for them. Sarah Eaton is an expert in academic integrity from the University of Calgary, and she says students as young as the 6th grade are being targeted for this. Here are some ways us parents can help get our kids through school with integrity.
Children go to school to learn, and teachers are there to help them learn. And if they're not learning, then they're not fulfilling their part of the bargain. And that's the role of a child to go to school. And so for parents to learn, help their children learn with integrity. Provide them time and space to do their homework, create an environment where children feel comfortable asking questions about whatever it is that they're working on, and ask them questions. Things like, what did you do in school today? What are you working on? What are you having trouble with? How can I help? That help needs to be sort of letting the student do the work on their own and maybe guiding them, being there to support them. And if they're showing emotional distress over not knowing how to do something or some particular content that's really difficult, just being there to reassure them, you can do this, you're smart. Sending those kinds of messages to our kids is key to helping them feel empowered that they can learn. It's important that parents let kids fail a little bit. Just because they might fail an assignment doesn't mean that they're failures. They're human beings, and that's another key message that we want to convey to children when they're young, that you can fail at something and you can still be a success as a person.
There is a powerful prison ministry taking place in Texas. This ministry coincided with City Fest, a Christian music festival featuring Josh Turner and the Newsboys. Take a look.
Hey, we're here in Tennessee Colony, Texas, bringing you the first report of City Fest East Texas. We're a few miles outside of Tyler. We just came from one of the prisons here and we saw a great harvest, many men giving their hearts to the Lord. We started off strong yesterday morning with one of the other prisons, and it was even more people, men and women. The women were behind a chain link fence, but full of joy and excitement, and we saw great response. So it was a great kickoff. It really filled our spirits with confidence and reminder of the power of the gospel, even in the most difficult places. Then we had Fiesta Latina last night, and 2,400 packed in Green Acres Baptist Church, and an amazing response to the gospel. So thank you for your prayers. But Richard Andrew is here with us. It's great to serve together again. We met at Folsom County where you had been. What do you think it means, the whole thing, for the men and women in there?
I think it means life or death. I gave my life to Christ in 1993 in the chapel of a California state prison. That's over 25 years ago. These folks are literally at the bottom. They cannot fall any further, and someone comes along and throws them a lifeline of hope. And then these folks give their lives to Jesus, they become born again, and then they become warriors for the kingdom. So God bless you and your supporters for making sure that you bring the gospel to these folks.
That story was brought to us by Global News Alliance. Over in the Bahamas, residents struggle to recover after Dorian, the worst hurricane in the country's history. Thousands of lives and homes have been destroyed, and rebuilding is likely to take years. Organizations like Operation Blessing have been on the ground there to help. Charlene Aaron from Christian Broadcast Network reports.
This footage, taken just this week over Freeport, shows the utter devastation in this part of the Bahamas, weeks after Dorian hit.
20 minutes, it was 15 to 18 foot water up to the second story in plenty of the buildings, with babies getting washed away out of their mother's arms.
CBN's Operation Blessing remains on location in the hardest hit areas, including Abaco, Grand Bahamas, and Freeport, providing much needed relief and support.
One of the biggest threats now is mold. So Operation Blessing is producing chlorine to help families sanitize their homes and neutralize the threat before it starts to affect their health.
We got water.
Medical help is also being offered.
What do you feel in your legs, right? Blood pressure?
Yes. In partnership with local churches, food, hygiene kits, and Home Depot buckets, which contain cleaning supplies and masks, are being distributed across the islands.
The people here, many of them have lost everything. And to have Operation Blessing to come in with the Home Depot buckets, we're just so grateful.
Meanwhile, OB is helping to meet the spiritual needs of those who have lost so much. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
That is amazing footage. Over here, closer to home, one of our regular political contributors, Brian Lilly, disagrees with Trudeau's comments about national unity and believes that there are unity issues and feelings of Western separation, as many in the West are feeling alienated from Ottawa. Coming up in the second half of our show, Brian will have more on Western alienation and also the latest poll numbers in the upcoming election. That's right after the break, so keep it right here.